and good evening, everyone. So we have from deAsra's team, we have many participants as well as we have many of our partners present over here. So welcome all of you.
So we have participants on Facebook as well as on Zoom today. Right, Anand? I think we're doing this on both platforms.
Yes. So the invited participants are here on Zoom as well as will be going live on our Facebook page. Everybody else can also participate.
Okay, great. So I think we should get started. It is bang 5 o'clock and I see we have a full house. My Zoom picture here is full. So let's get started. Thank you, Anand. This time, Dr. Anand Deshpande. Thank you for joining us today. We've been doing these foundation talks now for the past, we haven't spoken in the past 6 months, but this is a live session. So Anand, thanks for joining us for this live session.
Hi, can you hear me now?
We have, yes, absolutely, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
And we have participants today, Anand, from both the Facebook forum as well as the Zoom forum. And these are essentially everybody who works with us, who are our well-wishers, our supporters, our own dePreneur community. They have all joined us today. So I welcome each and every one of you. And we've been doing this, as I said, maybe I think March, April were the last episodes that we did. And then we got somewhat busy because of the COVID situation. And we got busy in helping our businesses to do various things, get access to funds, create their online presence, various things. And with that, we sort of got busy and we were not able to bring you more episodes of Foundation Talks. But I'm glad that we're able to have this as a live session today. And we have Anand with us. To mark this occasion, actually, this is a very special session today because we mark the occasion of being able to guide and help 100,000 entrepreneurs this week. So this really marks that occasion, and we are really very happy to have been able to do that. As you all know, we started in 2015 wanting to help and provide guidance and services to 25,000 small businesses. So we are really glad that the 100,000 businesses have been able to take our support and help along their journey. So what we've done in this session, Anand, just for your information, is we opened up a call for questions that our followers and our dePreneurs wanted to ask you. And we collected all those questions. And that's what I'm going to run through today with you. So these are essentially questions asked by the community and where they seek guidance and answers and advice from you. So that's the agenda of this session. And of course, if anybody has any more questions to ask, you can type away in the chat window. If we have some time remaining towards the end, we will take live questions. But I see we have a fair number of questions to get through in this session. So without delaying any longer, let's start. So Anand, the first thing that we wanted to know was deAsra started 2015. We've crossed the 100,000 beneficiary mark. We've been at it for 5 years. And everyone actually wanted to know what your experiences have been through this journey of deAsra over the past 5 years.
Okay, so let me first start by thanking all of you for being here today, and also for your support through this journey of more than 5+ years. As an organization that is been defined to provide service to small businesses, the fact that we have 100,000 of them who have found something useful from us is actually a great thing. And I want to thank all of them for their success and their support all through these years. Now, if you look at, where we are and what we are trying to do, What I believe is that if we look at our country and we look at the growth requirements in our country, look at the jobs that we need a large number of people to become self-employed and be entrepreneurs in some sort or the other. And what I find is that urban services is one of the fastest growing segments, but we do very little to help small businesses in the urban services segment. We create lots of issues, challenges, complexities. And the objective of the deAsra Foundation has been to kind of build out infrastructure and support that is needed so that, we can get businesses to happen very efficiently and very effectively. So that has been the mission that we started out with. I think the mission in the last 5 years has not changed. We continue to be on the same mission. What we have learned is over the last 5 years of working with this community, there are many things that we learned that we did not anticipate when we started. And I think that has been a good journey for us. And as the things have moved on, we have evolved, changed our outlook, changed our positioning. And Pradnya, you are very familiar with all the stuff that we have done in the last 5 years to kind of pivot to where we are today. And we can, of course, talk about some of those changes that we made. But essentially, the objective of what we want to do is still the same, which is to help and ensure that small businesses are successful at every scale. I was on another event just a couple of days back, and McKinsey has done a recent report on what they call the missing middle. What they mean here is that a lot of small businesses start, but they are not able to scale. How do we build scalable middle tier businesses is really where we have been focusing a lot on, and that's where we continue to be focused on. And I think if I look ahead, we have crossed 100,000, which in my opinion is an important milestone, but it is not the end of where we want to be because we have a long way to go. And there are many different ways of how we need to go ahead in terms of the next few years.
So Anand, when we started in 2015, you had a certain vision in mind in terms of how you saw small businesses getting the guidance and support from us. So are we on track? Are we on the right path? What you had in mind then, are we still close to what you had envisioned?
So, okay, let me say the following. When we started thinking about this particular problem and we started thinking about this more in 2013 and 14 onwards, we actually launched in 2015, early in the year. So January, February is sort of when we launched it. But we've been working on this for a year or two before that. And what we found is at that point, the mission, as I said, continues to be the same. And we really thought we should focus on helping small businesses be effective. When we started out, we thought that there would be a lot of opportunities or thinking that we should do on getting businesses to start from, so come to us, we'll help you start. So that was our initial goal. And we said we will try to template it out so that everyone who wants to start a business can come to us and get started with us. What we observed as we went on and we looked at it is that one, we found that many of the services that we are providing to companies that want to start off are also relevant to people who have already started the business. So there's no point in not working with those who have already started. The second thing we have observed, as you are aware, is the fact that we found that a lot of these very small businesses actually just happen. So they don't really start with a huge plan. So they're not ready to say, okay, will you spend 3 months doing a course or take this specific 5 steps and get going. So a lot of the businesses happen. I'm already in business and what do I do next, right? So we realized that it was important for us to adjust our offering to suit the requirements in the market. So the question is that, did we get to where we started out? Maybe not exactly, but quite differently. But am I happy that where we are? Absolutely. We have touched far more number of businesses. Perhaps what we were looking at doing with a small number of businesses when we were looking at 25,000 may have been a little bit deeper service or more deeper engagement. But I think we have shifted a bit. But I think this is what the market needs. So we have to adjust to the market. And I think I'm very pleased to see this number of 100,000 businesses in our network.
So Anand, so what beyond 100K? What do you see deAsra doing more and more or differently in the coming years?
So first thing is that the problem we are trying to solve is so large that the 100,000 that we are talking about is a speck in the requirement that we need to solve. And the whole idea was to pick a problem that is so grand that it will last for a long time. So like I just said, there was a session a few days back, and it's very clear that we need to create between 15 and 18 million new jobs every year. And I believe that a good number of these jobs are going to happen through entrepreneurs or people who are going to do small businesses. Good number meaning almost half of the businesses. Half of the jobs are going to come from smaller businesses. So we have a need for millions of such businesses that need our help. So clearly we have done 100K. Our goal now is to see what does it take to get to 500K? What does it take to get to a million businesses? I think we have nowhere near saturated the market in at all in any which way. So I think there's a lot for us to do. Also, I think we can continue to help the 100,000 that we have, gotten involved in or starting to help some for some service or the other. I think providing them many more services would be the second part of it. So I think both what we do with these businesses and how many more businesses do we get to. I think the problem, we have just scratched the surface. So I'm very excited that we have seen some good success in the early days, but I think we still have a long way to go. And I have no intention for slowing things down at all.
Right. So Anand, then shifting to the current way of doing things, now everyone has to sort of shift to the new normal, and there are a lot of challenges in front of small businesses. So in that context, what should small businesses be looking at to overcome these challenges, or how should they operate in this new normal? Any inputs or views on that?
Yes. So in general, right, we hear this from many people, and I see this across all kinds of businesses, including companies at persistent size or even the small businesses, is that the market favors those who are agile, who are adaptable. So basically Darwin's theory equivalent. So you have to adapt and move along to what is required as the market changes, customers change, behaviors change. So one of the most important things that businesses need to do to survive is to be agile and be able to adapt to changing conditions. So what has happened during the last 6 months of being in this pandemic stage, and it's sort of very sad to see that we don't really see the end of this for a while. The fact is that way we are doing business is different. We have gone a lot more online, a lot more digital. We have to do things much more efficiently. We have to conserve cash. Collections of money is different. So there are a lot of differences that have come in. And many of these things have improved the efficiencies of businesses who've been able to adapt to these new changes. So I think, looking ahead, if we say that even if we were to get over this whole COVID thing and we were to go back to the normal, so what it was in 2019, I still believe that many of the things that we have learned about being digital, working together on an online fashion, they're going to remain and stay like that with us for a long time to come. So that is going to become the new normal, as they are saying right now. So I think it is important for small businesses to really figure out a way to be more agile, more adaptable, think about customers, think about efficiency, and all of these kinds of things. Unfortunately, these kinds of transitions often favor bigger businesses than they favor smaller businesses. So it is imperative and important for small businesses to work hard and look at different ways of attacking the market. Because as you would know, if you're looking at retail or telecom or any of these, we have seen a lot of consolidation in the retail space. So a lot of large companies coming in, Reliance announcing large plans and all of those kinds of things. And there is a lot of noise that gets created out of the large businesses. But real action happens in the small businesses. And I think this is where there are tons of opportunities for people in this network. And I'm really hopeful and confident that if you do something innovative, different, create value, uh, small businesses will have a much better chance of growing and being successful than, sort of the non-adaptable businesses.
True. So Anand, there were a lot of questions around facing the cash crunch and financing being
Yeah.
difficult and not getting finance from banks, etc. Looks like there is a lot of difficulty in terms of access to finance and getting over the shortfall that this situation has created. What advice or what guidance would you have for overcoming that particular challenge?
So the first advice would be to call Pradnya or call deAsra, because we have figured out exactly what it takes to get loans for these businesses, and we have schemes now that we have worked out. But the fact is that it is difficult for small businesses to get loans in general, and even more so now. But I think it requires a certain process that needs to get followed. People are looking for CIBIL score, robustness of your business, accountability, being able to show cash flows, being able to demonstrate that you have the ability to pay back, and all of those kinds of things, which can be done very effectively through the digital platforms. And we have been working on PayTrack and deAsra and others to sort of create those kinds of mechanisms. But I think what is happening is, on one side, the government has been saying that they are going to support the small businesses. So we see some more, at least, action at that level. Second, people are talking a lot about flow-based lending, which would mean that instead of necessarily focusing on collaterals, people want to find ways to give loans on the basis of proven track record or transactions that you might have in your business. And managing and keeping those kinds of transactions becomes very important, because if you have the ability to demonstrate the kinds of transactions you are doing, then you have the ability to showcase to the lender that you have the cash flow that is there to support that. And we have seen that happen as well. So if any of you are interested, then we can of course help you with some of your plans in terms of getting your loans proposals set in the right space. And also we have now, and you can mention that, and it's on our website, we have partnered with about half a dozen different agencies who are willing to give loans to small businesses, and we have spent time to convince them that this should be possible and what the value addition is.
Right. So one of the other things that came in through the questions was essentially looking forward at what small businesses should do to be more attractive for the locality or the common person to come and buy from them, and not go outside, not go to say an Amazon or somewhere to buy stuff. How can local businesses make themselves more attractive, and what can the common man do in order to support local businesses?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, and it's, I think, worth discussing and getting people's opinions on this as well. But see, the reality is that, when we talk about what would the common man do, we are also common men when we look at buyers and sellers. So all of us are buyers and sellers. So why do we go to a certain buyer and not to some other buyer? It's also got to do with how we perceive them, what is the trust factor that we create, how are we responding to the convenience factor, and a whole bunch of issues like that. So the point that small businesses need to think about is, one, who are your customers? So that's the first and most important thing that people need to identify. In many cases, I find that small businesses don't always understand this question that well, meaning who exactly is your customer? Is it, is it the housewife, is it school children, whatever it is. So you should have a clear understanding of what your customers are and who your customers are. Second is, are you engaged with them? Are you in contact? Are you tagging them? Are you connected with them? Are you in a position to know what they are up to? So do you have enough information about them and their tastes and what they want to do? And then how are you meeting their requirements? So at the end of it, all businesses are all about making sure that the customers are satisfied and are delivering revenues to you, so that you can make the profits and grow the business. So it all anchors around the customers and making sure that the customers get what they need. Now, what has happened is that companies like Amazon and others, they are operating at large scale. They have made convenience easy. So they have become bigger competitors than the store next door in some sense. So I think there are two things that I would like to mention here. One is that every business needs to find a way to work for themselves to engage with customers that they think are important. But I think it may be also useful to group a set of businesses, and here's where the deAsra can help as well. And maybe we should take any feedback that you all have on how do we create buyer groups or seller groups or some hangout groups where people, we sort of do some joint marketing in some sense. So get people to think about the local community in some way or the other. because of the fact that we are all working together in some form or the other. So I think there may be some opportunity to think about how we position ourselves as a group rather than just as individuals, companies, one by one.
Correct, correct. And one of the things, Anand, as you know, we have of course, we have the loan schemes that we put in place. But now, subsequent to that, we are also running the Back on Track program, which
Yes.
is focusing on businesses in Maharashtra, mostly B2C businesses, on how they can increase their customers. We are focusing on digital marketing, helping them to sort of understand the techniques of digital marketing and get out there online. And the other thing is management of their cash flows, improving cash flows so they see more cash in hand. So what we've seen is the loans, the increase of customers, and the focus on improved cash flows. These three together seem to be having a good effect to help businesses to recover and restart again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you could also mention the fact that you're running a program to demonstrate that these three are important by running a competition of getting 20 businesses that we want to help one-on-one to ensure that you get to this kind of thing. We can demonstrate that this is possible. And one other important thing I want to point out to every business here, especially the small businesses. If you think about a large business, every large business was a small business when they started. Right? So it's not like somebody becomes large without being small someday. So you have to really find a way to sort of grow your business one at a time, and you build on small successes to you string them down into a much bigger solution than what you need.
No, that's great. So thanks for that, because there was a very specific question on how do I take my small business and scale it and make it into a big one. And I think you answered that to point. So one of the other things was also about starting a new business. What industries or what sectors, in your opinion, will now boom or will have more opportunities? Were some of the questions that came in for people who are looking to start their businesses or flip their businesses, given that their current ones may not now be relevant.
Yes, I think this is a hard question to really give like a yes, no answer here. But I think one has to look through these in terms of where the world is going to move. So I believe the tech businesses are definitely going to, technology being the center of the business is certainly going to happen in any business that you are in, whether you're looking at, so if you're doing classes or other things, you might have to think about online or whatever. So while the business itself might be still there, how you run that business is going to be very different. So that's something that every business will get touched by, the fact that they have to figure out a way to be different from what they were before the world. Now, if you think about what is going to be very different when we look at, say, 5 years or 3 years from now, so here are a couple of things that I want to leave for the group in some sense. And I want to spend just a few minutes trying to explain the demographics of our country. So if you really look at our population of $1.3 billion, 1.3 billion people, 130 crores, right? 1.3 billion people that we have. 13% of the people in this population are affluent guys. So they are today making roughly 2 lakh rupees a month or thereabouts or more. Then there is a large group, 55% of the people who make between 20,000 rupees per family to 2 lakh rupees per month per family. So this 22 lakh rupees per month at the top of the pyramid is also per month for the family. And typically in this kind of a context, people look at a family as 4 to 4.5 to 5 people. So the top of the pyramid is about 13% of our population, about 175 million people. They are kind of the affluent guys. But the 55% of our population is about 750 million people, which is a very large number. These are people who are in the aspiring bracket. So a lot of them now, all of them pretty much have access to cell phones, smartphones, not just cell phones, smartphones with internet. They all have access to bank accounts, digital payments, and all of those kinds of things. And they are all aspiring, and they're fairly young in terms of the age group of the people that you're looking at. So when you look at these kinds of things and then you say, okay, what do these people want to do? So entertainment, food, agriculture, you look at travel and tourism, though we have some glitch right now. I do expect that travel and tourism will come back in a couple of years once we find a vaccine and some other thing. We cannot not be traveling. So that I think still has a lot of potential. Entertainment is going to become a big area. So the number of people who are watching things in different languages becomes very important. So localized content is becoming very important. So being in vernacular or Marathi or whatever, sort of these kinds of things. The financial aspects of the business opportunities, that is going to be another big area for growth in the future. So these are all sort of the services kind of businesses that we are looking at, classes, entertainment, all of them. I see huge amounts of opportunities for businesses to grow. The other thing that is happening is that people are starting to have more disposable income in their hand in terms of just the amount of money that, if you look at this whole country and we say the $1 trillion economy is going to become, growing at 5, 7, 8%. We want to become 5 trillion. All of those numbers still hold. And if you look at those numbers, you will find that there is money that will get spent in providing services of different kinds. So whether it's massage services to whatever else, there's going to be no shortage of opportunities in the services segment. Running those efficiently is going to be the key, and scaling them is going to be the other important thing. But I don't think we are short of opportunities in terms of things to do. Manufacturing is going to be another big area, I suspect, especially because of the changes that have happened with respect to China. I think construction is another area that is going to become pretty big, which includes then all the side effects of that, which would be, interior design, things and all of that stuff. So I think there are many such segments that are up for growth, and most of these growing sectors are going to require innovative business models with innovative business ideas. I want to throw one idea at you is regarding subscriptions. I think subscriptions is another something that people might want to think a lot more about. I see, um, how can you convert something to be a monthly subscription or a yearly service, or can you charge slightly differently? Instead of charging per transaction, can you charge subscriptions, right? So if you look at, for example, Amazon Prime, they were charging shipping costs for every good. Now they've just converted it into saying, pay us 1,000 rupees a year and shipping is free, right? It just changes how you think about shipping now. So you're buying all kinds of stuff on an everyday basis, and it's just changed the industry, right? So a lot of these kinds of innovations are, I think, opportunities for small businesses to try some new stuff and to disrupt.
Absolutely. And we have a comment on what you said, where mobile internet is also a great leveler. Small business owners have an amazing opportunity to build services businesses because of mobile internet. So Anand, we have a question here about the order in which business support should be sought. So the question is, any person starting up generally needs a hand-holding in multiple areas. How would you suggest the timing for seeking expertise in each of these sections? More often than not, it's a chicken first or egg first kind of scenario, looking at the financial limitations that every startup starts with. So how
so let me give you three different ideas here. So one is that at deAsra, we are trying to help businesses such as you. So anything you have a question, send mail. We are trying to build a community. If we can't answer it, somebody in the community may be able to answer that question. So you don't have to wait for anything in terms of where to go. So come to us, we'll have something for you, or we'll be able to forward you to someone who might have an answer for you. So that's first part of it. So the other thing we find is that sometimes you don't know what all help you need and various other areas of that kind. So one of the things that we have tried out this year, and I would like to encourage all of you to go to our website and look at the entrepreneur journey map that you have created. So one of the challenges we found is that, okay, I don't know what all I'm supposed to be thinking about. I'm a small business, I'm just starting out. So what we tried to do is we have tried to create kind of a railway map type of a situation on our website. We call it the entrepreneur journey map. And what we have done is we have created multiple lines on it. So some of it is for starting the business, procedural items, some for marketing, some for finance. And we have created this, sort of metaphor of stations on it. So we are saying, okay, are you covered on this track? Do you have all the stations covered? And if you don't, then maybe you need help on those. So what all should you need help for? Where should you go, in which order? You can look at the journey map, and it might give you some guidance on how to navigate your next steps to what else should I be doing now. And actually, I'd like to just make an appeal to the group here as well. So this is new. We just announced, we've just put it online for about 2-3 months now. I'd love to get your feedback on what you think about it and how you see this journey map. If there are stations we have missed out, then, let us know. We'll go ahead and add them. But I find that, a small business often is lost in terms of saying, what are the many things that I should be looking about? Am I missing out on something? So having it all in one place, trying to say, okay, do I have all the compliances in one place? Do I have everything that I need in one place that I can look at one chart? Just makes life that much easier.
Absolutely. And we are calling it the Entrepreneur Journey Map online. So there's a small yellow icon on the top right, which you click, is when you get to see the Entrepreneur Journey Map. So hopefully that will resolve some of the issues there. So one more question, Anand. So when you start any startup now in 2020, is it still advisable that you should do everything at the start, even if it's not your cup of tea? And when the business settles at some point, then delegate the responsibilities, or start out?
What do you mean by do everything? Meaning?
So essentially carry out all of the functions yourself and not delegate onward, or should you start delegating right up front before you sort of, understand what needs to be done in those functions? That is what the question is.
So I'm not sure you can get away from not doing all the things, right? Meaning if you're running a business, you have to pay salaries, you have to manage your cash, you have to have compliances, you have to have some marketing. So you need to do all of these things anyway. Again, our question is, should you do it yourself or should you do it with someone else, right? So yeah, it's a good question. And, it all depends on your situation. Many times, because you don't know it, you didn't do it is not really a good enough excuse. So you have to do it anyway. So if you don't know what to do, just ask. I think ask for help, and we're trying to find partners and other ways to get you as efficient help as possible. But yeah, meaning I think you're going to need the stuff that you need. So you can't just not do things. So you have to do everything. And partnering to get that help is a good way to get some of these things done. But of course, it's a trade-off between how much money you want to spend versus what you want to do yourself.
Right. So we have a question around women entrepreneurs, and if you have any advice for communities of women entrepreneurs, what they should be doing differently, if at all, anything.
No, I think women are, at least in our group and in the groups that we work with at deAsra, we find that women entrepreneurs are very effective. They have been doing extremely well. They are very dynamic. They have been quite effective in the way we have seen the way they have been working right now. So I think I have no specific reason to believe that men are any better in the entrepreneurship situation as women. Actually, we find that women entrepreneurs in the small and medium segment actually are very successful, and a lot of large businesses are run by them, and large number of businesses are being made by small businesses, right? So I think if there is an issue, I think women probably lack some self-confidence in their own ability. I believe they are as capable as men. I think they should not hesitate in doing what they need to get done. And I am very sure they can do it. And I think one of the things we are trying to do as part of some of the activities, and you've been part of the WEP and many other things, is to see how to build communities to give women the confidence that, it's not just you alone, it's many women who are doing these kinds of things. And we know so many successful women as part of our network that it's amazing.
Absolutely. No, totally agreed, Anand. I think women do a lot, and it's just the confidence levels that's holding them back. And there's absolutely no reason to not do everything that they choose to do. So right with you on that one. And we have agreement on the chat window as well for, for what you're saying. One of the other questions, and I think this might be the last one that we'll have to take, but what are the mistakes that one should look out for, especially small businesses and now in this new world? What are some of the mistakes one should be aware of, and what should they do?
Yeah. So I think a couple of things that I would mention as areas where people can get stuck or really run into big trouble. So first is, I think, cash flow management. I think running out of cash is the sort of the hardest problem that you could run into. So understanding how much money you have and how you are spending your money. How are you looking at cash flow and cash flow management? I think is the biggest and the hardest part of this thing. And I find so many people who don't understand the importance of cash flow management as different from the profit and loss or anything else. So the area that I think is most critical is one of them is definitely cash flow management. The second big area that I think a lot of businesses run into with issues is both ways. One is they don't get the right team in place. So either they don't have enough people to support them, so they're trying to do everything themselves, or they're lone rangers and then they don't have the right team to make that work. So everything becomes their problem. Walls start to drop. You're not ready to take responsibility of everything. So it becomes very hard. On the other hand, there are certain businesses where they have the wrong team in the first place. So the rest of the team members don't work out. So I think getting that team right is very important and critical. It can't be just one person all the time. It needs to be a couple of people, but those 2-3 people need to really work together. They need to have an agreement on what they are trying to achieve, and they need to see each other and respect each other in terms of where you are trying to go. So that would be the second big challenge that I see in this kind of thing. And third and the last one I want to mention is customers. You have to have respect for your customers and make sure that they are they are getting the service that you need to get. Sometimes people tend to get very arrogant. They seem to think most small businesses, the key is that you have lots of small businesses and small people who work with you. Every single one of these small businesses and small customers, while they may be generating a very small revenue for you, it adds up and it's a reputation business. So I think every customer is important in that sense. You have to be able to sort of manage them effectively and provide them the service that they desire without necessarily, compromising your business to the point where you are not able to, you don't want to just give away free services because somebody's being a pain. That said, you want to be able to manage that very effectively. So whoever is able to get that customer empathy, customer excitement to happen will succeed in business in general. So those would be the 3 areas that I would say are things that I think are worth looking at for small businesses.
Okay. So one of the questions here is from someone who has an idea which would be more successful if implemented or supported by the government. But starting that as an individual startup won't be that successful, is his feeling. So how to deal with that dilemma? Should he join bureaucrats? Should he join the government? How should he get government support for his idea?
So I'm not the best person to give you an answer on this question. I somehow don't believe that the government should do small businesses. I think keeping the government out of small business is meaning they should just support and not get involved in it. Governments can't run small businesses, is my opinion. So, my recommendation is to stay away from the government for doing these kinds of things, in the sense that, you have to find a way to help yourselves in a sense rather than depend on the government, especially if you are a small business. That's my opinion, but meaning I don't know the nature of the business he's referring to. So there may be something very specific that needs government, whatever, but I just don't know what I see that.
So let's move to the last 1 or 2 questions. So one question is, how can civil society help local businesses and help deAsra's mission? Is there anything that you want to ask of the common man to help us in our mission?
No, I think so. There are 2 parts of the mission where I think we can get some help. So one is, I really believe that each and every one of us needs to be an employment generator rather than an employment seeker. So we want job creators rather than job seekers. And I want every one of you to think about becoming a job creator. We need it, company needs it, country needs it. And I would love to see that every common man sort of help us by becoming job creators and allowing us to help them. So that is one important aspect where I would like to encourage everyone to become a job creator rather than a job seeker. The second thing, I think, in terms of where can you help us, I think there are so many ways where you can help us. Now, if you are already a business and you know how to help other people, I think we all have to understand that we all operate in a pay forward model, as they call it. What that means is that, you know, I have benefited from the ecosystem over the last many years. I may not be able to help those people who have helped me as such, particularly because that's how the ecosystem works. I have to pay forward. So I have to go and help someone else in the process and get this journey to happen. So what I would like to see happen is that in this small business world, each one of us needs help and mentoring. We have all benefited from the help that we have gotten from other people. You pay forward, help other people in that mix. And we are happy to connect you to other people. So I think if we are able to build this network of, you know, if you need help, come to us. If you want to provide help, we can provide these people to help or whatever. Or even if you don't come through our platform, you do it on your own, I think that will still be a good thing. And I think if you have specific ideas or suggestions on how we can improve our service, we'd be happy to take that on. I think if we are trying to look at this sort of P2P funding model, so if you want to fund businesses, we might have a way of giving you peer-to-peer lending opportunities. That's another place where we could take some help. If you have some specific service that you want to offer to small businesses, we have been thinking about how to create a network where we will make your services available to all the other businesses. So the way I look at deAsra right now is that we are open to ideas. We don't know exactly how everything is going to work well. We are open to suggestions from everyone. We will evolve. We are also open to other people, you know, helping in this whole scheme. I see this problem to be so large that I'm not ever suggesting that we are the only ones who can solve the small business problem. We are doing one part of it. We are a platform for other people to plug in other things as part of the service. And we will enable more and more people to sort of help each other. And that's really where we are going. So we are not saying that everything has to come through us. And the problem that we are trying to address of trying to see how do we get large number of people to become job creators? How do we make them very efficient so that, you know, each of them is paying themselves enough and paying the community enough, and overall the economy benefits. So that's our mission, and we can use all the help we can get.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we are on WhatsApp. We are on team@deasra.co.in. We are on Facebook. So whichever channel, whichever way you'd like to send your suggestions, send your ideas, we are more than happy to hear from you and take them into our strategies as we build them. So one question, Anand, as you were talking about more and more people looking to create jobs, becoming job creators, one question here is, in the current situation, starting a small business, is that really something that you would suggest? The economic condition does not seem to be very feasible. Is it still a good idea to start?
Yes. So actually, you know, there is never a bad time to start a business. Let me leave it at that. If you really look at, and I can say this from my personal experience as well. So if you looked at when we started Persistent, right, in 1990, actually it could have been the worst time that you could have started a business. You know, country was broke. If you look at the economic condition of India in October, November, December 1990, it was worse than what it is today, despite the, you know, COVID and everything else. So there is no such thing as a bad time. It's a context. It's small business, especially. All that matters is how do I do in the context of my customers. The number of people we have in the world has not changed a whole lot. Meaning they are all there. We are all still buying. We still need services. So I think none of that has changed. And I think we just have to be more innovative, work differently. But I don't think there is any shortage of opportunities at this moment. So I would not hesitate. I would just think differently.
Okay, great. No, great advice. So as we have a comment from Mr. Prashant. So Mr. Prashant, if you're interested in funding, we do have another email ID, wecare@deasra.co.in. You can write there and we can take it forward with you. So Vishal has asked about if you can tell us more about your journey when you started Persistent, but Vishal, I don't
Not
think
at this time, man. We'll
So
do
we
another session on that. We'll do one
right,
for Vishal. Let's do it on J4E platform.
right.
Vishal,
So
you should invite me to talk about this story to your friends.
absolutely. So we'll. So I think it's time that we close here. Anand, any parting thoughts for the attendees? So there's, as I said, our own business community here. We have well-wishers and our supporters and followers. Any parting advice for any of them?
No, so first I want to thank everyone. Okay, so first I want to thank all the deAsra team members. They have really worked hard to make this number happen. I'm just sitting and giving advice. At the end of it, the work is being done by the team. So I want to really acknowledge every single person who has been part of this and really help, and the help that they have provided. Second, I think as we've said many times, and you've said this as well, we are a community. We are not just a business of our own, right? We are in a mission, but we are part of a community. So there are a lot of business consultants, partners that we work with. So I want to thank all of them for their support. And the last thing I want to mention, which is the most important in some sense, we have just scratched the surface. We just have 100,000. We've just started. There is many things to do. The problem we are trying to solve or to address is so large. We are nowhere near done. So I think it's important for us to not lose track of the overall context and sort of gloat on this thing that, okay, we have touched 100,000. So yeah, so what, you did 100,000. We still have 1 million to go and 1 billion to go, right? Meaning we have, as I said, large numbers of people in our country that need our help. And why do we need to restrict ourselves to our country alone? We can go all over the world as well. So I think I am super ambitious. I'm extremely delighted at where we have reached so far. It's a hard journey, one step at a time, but I think we are not done anywhere near it. So we need all the help we can get, and we want to go and make sure we can make a difference to large numbers of millions of people that we need to make sure that they're getting helped by this thing. And if there are other ways to do it, we would be quite happy. So as I said, we are not the only way to do things. We are just trying certain things out. And if we need to do something different, with better ways to come up, we will also adapt and adopt.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Anand, for sharing your thoughts, being with us on this live session. And thank you to all the attendees for coming on this session, asking your questions, and do keep engaged with us. As I said, we are active on various channels. So whichever way you'd like to work with us, send us your ideas, suggestions, more than happy to listen to you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Anand, once again. So I end
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.